Good morning, honorable judges and the distinguished prosecutor. My name is San Lwin. I am a Rohingya activist and co-founder of the Free Rohingya Coalition. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before this court today. I represent not only myself, but also over 1 million Rohingya who have suffered under a systematic campaign of violence and dehumanization. Before discussing the role of social media in the genocide of the Rohingya, I want to take a moment to explain who we are, where we come from, and the significant challenges we have faced over the years. The Rohingya are often described as the most persecuted minority in the world. For decades, we have faced violence, discrimination, and human rights abuses. This suffering intensified after the 1982 citizenship law was enacted in Myanmar, which rendered the Rohingya stateless. Since then, we have been denied fundamental rights such as the right to travel, marry, access education, and seek medical care. It is essential to note that before 1982, the Rohingya were recognized as an indigenous ethnic group in Burma and enjoying full citizenship right. We live peacefully in Arakan, also known as Rakhine State, and significantly contributed to the country's development. However, after the law was enacted, we were regarded as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, despite having lived in Myanmar for centuries with undeniable historical evidence. This discriminatory policy marked the beginning of our persecution. In 1978, the first wave of mass violence displaced thousands of Rohingya. The pattern of violence continued in 1991, 1992, and tragically, it was repeated in 2017 on a much larger scale. Each time, thousands of Rohingya were killed, raped, and forced to flee their home. The situation has become so dire that today, the Rohingya people are not only denied citizenship, but are also forced to live in conditions similar to an open-air prison. Our movement is restricted, we face arbitrary detention, and we are isolated from the rest of the country. Most of the population in Myanmar has no idea about our existence in Rakhine State due to this complete isolation. Until 2012, access to mobile phone and the internet was limited in Myanmar, and only a few people had SIM cards, which were considered a luxury. However, when the quasi-civilian government came into power in 2011, the situation started to change, and the people gained more access to the internet. Around 2012, widespread violence erupted against the Rohingya, resulting in at least 1,000 dead and 1,000 homes being burned. More than 150,000 people were left homeless. During this time, Facebook became the primary communication platform in Myanmar. The government used Facebook to spread misinformation, including claim that Rohingya were illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. This false claim painted us as outsiders, and this narrative was promoted on Facebook with the help of government officials, including Zote, a spokesperson who used the platform to spread hate. The Myanmar government's propaganda, along with Facebook's failure to regulate harmful content, contributed to the dehumanization of the Rohingya. Social media users, including pro-government groups, utilized Facebook to incite hatred and division, labeling the Rohingya as criminal and invader. Facebook became the internet for Myanmar, and during this time, misinformation about Rohingya was widely shared, often accompanied by extreme views. Had Facebook made an effort to research and report on the truth about the Rohingya existence, public perception might have been different. Instead, the platform allowed hate speech and disinformation, leading to significant engagement. In 2012, traditional media began shifting its focus to Facebook, and that the narrative surrounding the Rohingya started to take shape. Western funded media outlets utilized Facebook to spread harmful propaganda, labeling the Rohingya as Bengalis and attributing blame to the victim for the violence inflicted upon them. Even internationally respected media organizations such as BBC, VOA, and RFA, which offer service in Burmese, refer to the Rohingya as Bengali on their Facebook pages. This misinformation dehumanized us. The victim of violence, the Rohingya, were labeled as perpetrators. The media's portrayal of us as outsiders not only fueled the hate, correcting the narrative became almost impossible, as those spreading lies had significantly more influence and we lacked the resources to challenge them. From 2012 onward, I began using Facebook to share the truth about the Rohingya, including our history and our plight. However, my posts, along with many others, were often removed by Facebook, sometime immediately after being reported by Burmese users. These removals occur despite our posts aiming to educate the public and demonstrate our humanity. Meanwhile, misinformation and hate-filled posts were allowed to remain, gaining widespread engagement. The more false information was shared, the more it was endorsed by the platform, while the voices of Rohingya were silent. In 2016, Myanmar government, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, and the military carried out a so-called clearance operation against an insurgent group. This operation resulted in the mass displacement of almost 100,000 Rohingya and new wave of violence. Thousands were killed, 30 villages were burned, and the military engaged in widespread sexual violence. Despite the brutality of the operation, Burmese Facebook users cheered, with many openly calling for the extermination of the Rohingya. At the same time, my Facebook account was under attack. I was targeted by Burmese users, pro-government media, and others who view my effort to speak out as a threat to their narrative. In 2016, Aung San Suu Kyi created a Facebook page called the Information Committee of State Councillor and publicly accused me of spreading fake news. Her page labeled report of the rape against Rohingya women as fake rape. In 2017, the violence against the Rohingya reached its highest. Over 750,000 people were forced to flee to Bangladesh, and countless lives were lost. Thousands of women and girls were raped, and almost 400 villages were burned. Again, Facebook users cheered the violence, and my posts documenting the atrocity were frequently removed. The Facebook even warned me that they would disable my account, which had nearly 90,000 followers then. Facebook actions were appalling. While Twitter verified my account as notable and recognized my authenticity, Facebook tried to silence me. Fortunately, I contacted Facebook senior management. My account remained intact. However, the suffering of my people continued and changed. The Myanmar military and government officials actively spread misinformation on Facebook, and the platform did nothing to stop them. The posts calling for the killing of Rohingya, which were openly shared, received widespread engagement. Facebook failure to act allowed the violence to continue. As hate speech was promoted, and the platform became a tool for spread of genocide. The United Nations fact-finding mission later confirmed that Facebook played a part in the genocide of the Rohingya. The platform allowed hate speech, false information, and call for violence, turning people who wanted to kill Rohingya into Facebook celebrity. Those who supported the genocide were praised, while the voices of the victim were ignored. Facebook content moderation system was fundamentally flawed. Initially, the company outsourced content moderation to a third-party contractor, failed to hire enough staff, and many moderators held biased view. The vast majority of the population in Myanmar embraced hostility toward the Rohingya, and it was evident that most content moderators share this perspective. Consequently, posts supporting the Rohingya, sharing our history, or documenting our suffering were consistently removed while hate-filled posts continue. I have personally received numerous threats on Facebook, including death threats. I am certain that Facebook artificial intelligence system could have identified and blocked this threat, yet they did nothing. This inaction allowed threat and hate speech to persist. A. San Lwin, the grandson of the late dictator San Lwin, openly called for my colleague Dr. Monzani and me to be adopted from Germany and the UK and tried in a Myanmar court. His interview with the media was broadcast on Facebook. After the coup in 2021, the narrative about Rohingya began to shift slightly among pro-democracy group. The term Bengali was replaced with Rohingya, but state-controlled media continued to spread the false narrative. The shift was not enough to undo the damage done over the years, and the hate continues, especially after the Arakan Army, a Rakhine Buddhist rebel group, took control of Rohingya areas. They committed terrible crime, including massacre, rape, and expulsion, and many Burmese users now sided with them. Rakhine local media, which has always been hostile toward the Rohingya, spread misinformation on Facebook. Facebook, as usual, removed our posts, even when the crime committed against us were well documented. My Facebook follower grew to over 384,000, but reach of my post is minimal compared to those who oppose us. Facebook continued to remove content related to the suffering of my people, often under the pretext of graphic content. Since the coup in 2021, most Burmese users have switched to Twitter, now called X. Last year, after I exposed the crime of the Arakan Army, I have been attacked by some users every day. I have reported this attack to X, but they have not taken any action. In conclusion, I have one key recommendation for all social media platforms. The Rohingya have been subjected to genocide, one of the gravest international crimes, and social media platforms must adopt policy that recognize our identity, history, and existence. This platform must take action against the spread of misinformation and hate speech. Social media companies have a responsibility to stop the promotion of genocide and hate, and they must ensure that users understand that such views are unacceptable. Hate speech is not freedom of speech, and encouraging genocide is not free speech. Social media companies must be held accountable for their role in enabling violence and dehumanization. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Received the questioning. One of the judges has a question.
Thank you. You see, I was in Myanmar at the beginning of these awful crimes against the Rohingya communities. And I was really shocked about the common hate and aggressiveness of the government, all the media, and of course social media. Could you please tell me what the special added value of social media in these fields is after your, let's say, understanding?
Well, thank you, Your Honor. As I mentioned in my statement as well, the problem with the content moderation. If the content moderator take the sufficient action, we would not see such hate speech over the Facebook. Most of the Burmese people, they use the Facebook, and the content moderator, also they are the Burmese. Of course, they should be the Burmese, but they should be unbiased. In our country, hatred against the Rohingya and also the Muslim is deeply rooted. The racism and the Islamophobia.
One additional question. So you feel that, let's say, the aggressiveness would have been smaller if only in hyphen, TV and media and government
Yeah.
had, let's say, executed it?
Yes,
Yeah.
because the majority of the people, they are mostly, even they went to the school, mostly I would say they are illiterate. They are not intellectual. So they just follow their leaders and the medias. So if the media educate them, I'm sure most of the people, they would change their mind. The media is negative, the social media as well, and also the Facebook, they don't have the proper policy for the Rohingya.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, please proceed. Proceed.
Just one question. You said that you contacted Facebook
Yep.
at the time. What
Yes.
did they reply to you?
Well, it was in 2017, not the Myanmar team. Those senior management are based in Washington, D.C. and the London. So they said they are sorry. They took like this is my personal case, not about the Rohingya, but later they have corrected a lot, I feel, but not as a whole policy. They have taken down some posts against me and also against some other, the people. But those still, like the pro-government media and the state media are using this term Bengali and dehumanizing. Even this morning I saw a post from the 11 media, which is the pro-government, pro-military media based in Myanmar, still using the term Bengali. So if the Facebook really care about the Rohingya and they are already accused of being involved in this Rohingya genocide, so they should have the policy that they have to block this calling the Rohingya Bengali, So we are not the Bengali, and I have my name, Nobody should call me the alternative name. I have my name. So this is our collective name. So I mean, calling the Bengali term, it is the dignified term. It belongs to the more than 300 million people in South Asia. But for us, calling us Bengali is a racist,
I have a question.
Thank you.
How many, I would say, accounts have you reported to Facebook to, suspend or to block? And where did you find, in how many of such cases you found success?
Well, I don't remember exactly, maybe not less than 1,000.
Reported 1,000
Yes.
accounts.
Not only myself, some of my colleagues as well. We build a team because in Myanmar there are about 20 million users. They all using the Facebook, and let's say more than 99% are against the Rohingya. Only a handful people, let's say maybe 2-3 dozen people are just siding with the Rohingya. The remaining are anti-Rohingya. So they have been collectively working against the Rohingya, while we have only handful of people can report. But we keep reporting the Facebook. They didn't take any action. So after I
Take
got...
this matter to court. Did you ever file a lawsuit?
Well, some of my colleagues, including this colleague, they filed the case. He filed the case in UK, and some other filed the case in US. I heard the case in US was rejected by the court, but the UK one is, I think, is still the process. Maybe he can explain you more.
Could you let us know the reason for a rejection?
Well, I don't know exactly. The company, the law firm sued them. They would know much better. So but I live in Germany. Here, even the human rights group collaboration with the Rohingya and the other ethnic group, we filed a case here against for whatever the crime military have done against us. The court refused here. So that is why I was not doing anything.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Pantelis Mikalopoulos, and you have my sympathy and admiration for coming forward, and there's no doubt that heinous genocidal acts have been committed. And so none of my questions is intended to question any of the extent of this horrendous genocide. But I would like to focus on some of the quotes that you testified to, and perhaps that your counsel referred to, starting with the post, thank you, that you complained of, namely that somebody, referring to a statement you made, described it as fake news. And my question to you is, you are aware, of course, that fake news is a term that is used rather prolifically nowadays by all sides, right? President Trump uses it, right?
Yeah.
President Biden uses it, correct? And my question to you is, do you think it would be a proper role for a social media platform to adjudicate and say President Trump's reference to fake news was incorrect because the news he was referring to was in fact not fake, and President Biden's reference to fake news was correct because the news he was referring to was in fact fake? Would you be comfortable with the social media platform playing that role of referee of the fake newsness of news?
Well, let me answer your question. Thank you for your question. And the case in U.S. about, whatever you say, President Trump or the President Biden, our case is completely different. We are very small minority compared to the U.S. or any other country. Even within the Myanmar, we are more than 1 million inside the country. I mean, now about 600,000 remain. Even from this 600,000, almost 100,000 had to flee to Bangladesh last year. So our case is completely different. In Myanmar, there are only handful media, and we have the Facebook as internet. In U.S., there are thousands of media, mainstream media, local media, newspaper, Washington Post, New York Times. So the people have alternative option to find, to investigate whether it is the fake news or not. And they all can read, the English language. They can go to the Twitter and, or read the opinion from analysis from different people and can find the truth. But in Myanmar, the Facebook is only the internet. The people have only one option, to find the truth on the Facebook. Since the Facebook is favoring those who are spreading lie about this Rohingya people and supporting the people who are calling to exterminate the Rohingya, then we have to blame the Facebook. I think this is what I understood.
Thank you. And so if a social media platform were to decide, as a matter of policy, that it's very difficult to parse and say, in one case, I will make a determination as to whether something is fake news or not, and in some other cases, when President Trump does it, when President Biden says it, I will just not make that determination. If the social media platform were to decide that it's difficult to distinguish, would you sympathize with that decision? Would you view it as appropriate or principled?
Well, it is the multi-billion company. They can hire a lot of staff. After they were accused by the UN fact-finding mission, they commissioned a research. They did proper research. They could have done this earlier, and we have been urging over the Facebook and also on the Twitter that you have to change your policy. They didn't. They have done anything. They were just focusing those posts calling the extermination of the Rohingya because the people are engaging there. The majority of the people are engaging there, like, share, so they can put their advertisement. All they care was their money, their income. So they use us as a tool for their earning, So blaming them is, I think, completely fair, and we should be given compensation because of the Facebook that fuel. The military also use the Facebook, and they have the Facebook page. The military soldier were using this platform to communicate each other. They were using the Facebook Messenger. I met one military soldier who fled from Rakhine State to the mainland, and then I brought him to Bangkok. And some documentary filmmaker interviewed him. So they were using this Facebook Messenger. I asked him over the phone, what did you use when you guys communicate each other? He said Facebook Messenger. We have a group that digging the hole and bury the dead body in this mass grave, and they have a group raping the girl and the women. They have a group just killing, because this is the division of the labor. So they were using this messenger. Facebook has the AI. They can detect everything. They didn't stop. And I have been receiving every day until today. If you see my Facebook Messenger, you will find a lot of this, the swearing, death threat, and the many threats. They have been still sending me because now the perpetrator has changed. Before was the Myanmar military, now the perpetrator is the Rakhine Buddhist rebel group, Arkan Army. I have been exposing their crime every day. That is why I am getting threat. So they are not blogging anything. They are not doing enough at all.
The messenger service is a communication service, correct?
Yeah, Facebook Messenger they are using.
You're not attempting to hold liable Deutsche Telekom for not intercepting.
No.
phone calls,
This is not
are
the
you?
Deutsche Telekom. This is the Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me reference a statement made by your counsel to the effect that somebody was called a traitor in a post. And I'm not referring to the subsequent content of that statement, which seemed to clearly incite violence, something I would run afoul of even the most vigilant regimes in favor of the freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But on this statement, somebody is a traitor. How would a social media platform go about probing that statement, its truth or falsity? How do you determine, okay, somebody said about somebody else that they're a traitor. Is that true? What is a traitor? How would the social media platform do that?
Well, we call this social media. By calling this, we should not say they are not responsible for anything. They are They have to take some responsibility. Like the traditional media, they have the fact checker. Yeah, they have a team checking the fact. So the Facebook and they can have they have the team. They have the content moderator. They can have the separate fact checker team, and they can verify all this thing and make the environment safe. Give the correct. They can provide the correct information to the Facebook the user. So this way we will be safe, and everyone will feel happy. And those people are spreading the misinformation or the disinformation would understand there is no place for the fake news and this such thing. They can make it. They are the multi-billionaire company. They can spend a lot of money while they are making multi-billion every year.
And finally, I wanted to build on the line of questions you asked Dr. Dubler-Gemelin. And you asked about the increment. In other words, what was the delta? How much was this genocidal behavior exacerbated because of the presence of social media compared to the presence of only traditional media? And I recall your answer as being that the TV media, the more traditional media, are more innocuous because people are uneducated and tend to follow their leaders. And my question to you is, what if those leaders were the Islamophobes?
Yeah, they are too. In Myanmar, the military has been ruling the country since 1962. Yeah, the coup happened in 2021 is the third coup since the 1962. From 1962 until today, only the 5 year from 2015 to 2020, the civilian government led by the Aung San Suu Kyi ruled the country. Of course, I would accuse Aung San Suu Kyi. She is also a racist and the Islamophobic, because if you Google, you would find this. When she was interviewed by the BBC, that the interviewer was the Michelle Hussein. So she raised the question why I would be interviewed by the Michelle Hussein. So this was the the racist and the Islamophobic remark. And when the Rohingya was massively attacked by the military, she took the military side. And when the genocide case was filed by the Gambia at the International Court of Justice, she went to the ICJ and defend the military and dismiss the genocide. So, of course, they are against us. But the problem with the social media, especially Facebook, the problem with the Facebook is allowing the platform to amplify these voices. Yeah. Since 2021, the Facebook is blocking all the pages of the Myanmar military, because Myanmar military seized the power they didn't like. So they have that one policy for this military coup. They are not allowing any page. Now the military has no page at all. But there are some pro-military pages, like as I mentioned earlier, 11 media and some other media based in Myanmar. They are the pro-military media. They are still running the page. But there are no military pages.
Yeah. And so to recap the comparison between the broadcast station, that's my last question, thank you, Your Honors, and the less traditional online media platform, in the case of the broadcast network, you have a leader, and let's suppose that the leader is also an Islamophobe and a skeptic who is inclined to dismiss that what's happening is a genocide. And you have uneducated people who are the audience and will follow that leader. And you don't have a voice.
Yes.
In that case. Yeah. When the network with its loudspeaker propagates to you and to everyone. Whereas in the case of social media, you do have a voice. Sometimes this voice is muffled.
Yeah.
Sometimes this voice is not given enough amplification, but it seems to me that perhaps you're better off than in the case of the broadcast network, where you're totally silent by definition.
That is true. Yeah.
That concludes my question. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, in jurisdictions like India, we have a very clear position on who would decide whether a particular content is fake or not, or whether a content is offensive or hate speech. There are, clear cases like Shreya Singhal versus Union of India, where the Supreme Court of India decided the question that if it is fake or not, or if it is offensive or not, if it is left to the social media alone to decide, will be a difficult proposition. Therefore, they said if a government order or if there is a court order which requires a takedown, that should be the right methodology to have a objective view over a particular content, and that needs to be complied with. So is there something of this sort in your jurisdiction, or any important law or court direction to this effect?
Well, in Myanmar, nothing, because in Myanmar, the judges are under control of the military regime. So they have no right. And like the India, in India, I think the judges still have the freedom to decide what they think is right. But in Myanmar, the case is completely different.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, please, if I may. Thank you. Another additional question. What do you think? Did the government, who, let's say, initiated and executed this heinous crime, did they use social media as an other media? So it was more the government, or could you say that even civilians, not influenced by the government and the official policy, used social media for, let's say, expanding the fight against Rohingya by themselves?
Well, the government and the military had the policy to wipe out the entire Rohingya population from the country. So since 1991, they had they imposed the several restriction on the Rohingya and kept the Rohingya in the prison. When this internet is available, they knew that the government and the military knew that the people will discover all this oppression against these Rohingya people. So they need the people's support. That is why, since the Facebook became internet in Myanmar, they start using this platform to spread their propaganda. I still remember in late 2011, it was by the vice chairman of the National League for Democracy Party, which is led by the Aung San Suu Kyi, the Nobel laureate. His name is Tura Utin U. He was the former general. I met him personally when I was a young boy, because my uncle was the member of founder of this NLD branch in my town. So he was the first person spread misinformation and the disinformation about the Rohingya when he was interviewed by the Radio Free Asia Burmese service. So he said these people don't belong to Myanmar or Burma. They are illegal immigrant from Bangladesh. It was the first attempt by this pro-democracy group, the leading political party. And the second is in mid-2012 by the government spokesperson, Zote. He posted on his Facebook that this is my opinion, these people are intruding our country, they are illegal immigrants from the Bangladesh. So they use Facebook as a tool to spread the propaganda, and the people follow. So the people cheer them. The people were saying, your policy is right, we are supporting. So they use that platform. Yep.
Relates to what you called your recommendations.
Yes.
And I want to follow up on some of the questions that the Defense Council asked. So you talked about recommending that there should be content moderation and that the social media should not permit hate speech or supporting genocide, supporting crimes against humanity. I understand that, but he asked you about fake news. And don't you agree that it is subjective, not objective? So if you call somebody a traitor, they're a traitor to one side. The other side says, they're a traitor to my side.
Yeah.
So it becomes subjective. Do you think that that would fall under content moderation? Because it's a fine line. You said hate speech is not free speech. I understood that. But I'm trying to make the fine distinction of what you can moderate if you were a social media company and what you can't.
Well, if I were the owner of this matter of the Facebook company, I would hire a group to spread the correct information, because
Yeah, but wait, but correct is a word of judgment. It is I gave the example of traitor, as did counsel. One side sees the other side's people as traitor. The other side sees the other side people as traitors. So that can't be called correct or not. So that's why I want you to focus on what you would want the content moderator to rule out.
Well, there would be many complicated cases, but for our case, Rohingya case is very clear. I was not asking too much. What I was asking is just ban calling the Rohingya Bengali, because the Rohingya is the Rohingya, yeah? That is, and they recognize the Rohingya, because we were recognized as a full citizen. The term Rohingya was also recognized as the official ethnic group in Myanmar. So all these things, only a few things, if they correct and support, I think there would be the last hate speech. I'm not saying the whole thing is very complicated, because we have the more than 200 country, and there are many cases. I cannot judge myself. This is correct or this is
That's
wrong. Right. But I am saying only small case. This Rohingya case is just about the 1.5 million or 2 million people across the world. We are make of total population 3 million across the world. So for these people only, just make a policy, a small policy. This is what I am asking.
And
the traitor and the things, these are the very complicated.
Right.
Yeah.
So what policy would you want Facebook to have espoused?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, just recognize our ethnic identity.
Our ethnic identity?
Yes, because those military and the pro-government and the pro-military and those against us, they are calling us Bengali, which is not our ethnic identity, and they are accusing us we are the illegal immigrant from Bangladesh. So there are well documented our existence. We belong to Arakan or the Rakhine state. They know that. So while they are allowing all this, the argument on the social media and making the problem, if they ban, because those people propagating on the social media, they are not using their real identity. Most of them are fake account. Most of them are fake account.
How do you know that?
Well, they are not using their real name. Even they don't have the profile picture. They post something, all the thing about against the Rohingya, maybe all the thing against the pro-democracy group. This way, they are creating a lot of problem there. So just remove those accounts.
Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah.
They should use their ability, their AI, to determine what is a fake account and eliminate and ban fake accounts.
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah, and also this, they have their policy recognizing the ethnic identity and the citizenship, and that is all enough, So this problem will be minimized if they have this policy.
So basically, it's talking about the communal hate.
Well, I know. No, but the problem is what you expect from social media is to adopt and make policy, which usually states do. States do, not private companies.
Your Honor, they could make the policy, as I mentioned earlier. In February 2021, the military seized the power in Myanmar. Since then, I was engaging with the all pro-democracy group in Myanmar, and we got somehow some kind of reconciliation. So I am very active on Facebook and the Twitter. I have been observing all this. The Facebook banned all the military pages.
Yeah.
They don't allow even one post. They post, immediately they remove. They created a new page. Immediately they can remove. So if they can have the policy for the military, why they cannot have the policy for the Rohingya? This is my argument.
Thank you.
Yeah.